Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to today's Draw with Chris live stream. How is my audio? Can you hear my audio? Comment below. How is my audio? If you can hear me, please comment in the chat. I don't have. Okay, looks like we are live. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I hope you can hear me okay. Can someone please in the chat comment below? How is my audio? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? How is my audio? Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me, please? Can you hear me? How is my audio? Can anyone hear me? How is my audio? Okay, thank you, Corey, for the microphone check. I have no way to monitor my audio, which is crazy. All right, let's get started here. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Chris Legaspi. Welcome to today's Draw with Chris live stream. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about pen shading techniques, hatching. So here's an example of a little hatching drawing. I kind of like this drawing. This was done with pen, and I'll show you one more. Here's just I did this from observation in my sketchbook. It's also done in, I believe, some kind of ballpoint pen. And you can see it's all only pen and only hatching. And I used to do quite a lot of these. Another one from observation. This is in Thailand. Comment below who has ever been to Thailand or Southeast Asia. You see a lot of these food markets, street food vendors. Here's another pen drawing from somewhere. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And before we begin, I wanted to talk about my new course. 100 Exercises is a new series of courses, and these are self-study courses, and just like the title says, these courses are exercise focused. So in this course, you're going to get literally 100 exercises for various subjects. The first volume will be Portraits and Faces. And this volume is currently in beta. And if you want to get your hands on it, I'm going to release it this month, right around Christmas time. And I'm only going to release this course to my email subscribers. And if you subscribe to my email list, you'll get the beta version at a discount. So I always give discount codes to my email subscribers and the Discord community. So all you got to do, if you want to, if you're interested in this course, if you want more information on it, and if you want to see it in development, go to, you know where to go. Go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email, and you can sign up for my free insiders email list. And once you sign up, you can also get access to other really cool free content. I got head drawing mini courses. I got color content, Discord community. You can get a free preview of my internationally selling life drawing books. Pretty exciting. So, and all of that is free. Go to www.drawwithchris.com. So let's get on with the show here. Thank you for being here. trying to get a nice frame here. Let's put this here. Okay. Before we begin, comment below, where are you located? Where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand. It's Sunday morning for me, so thank you for being here wherever you are. Sorry for the late start today. All right, let's talk about principles. Hatching. So hatching really there's a couple things that you have to be aware of when you do any kind of lighting or shading, and hatching is just one way to do it. And when I talk about hatching, I'm talking about this with line. And typically you do that with the point of your pencil. So this to me is hatching. And of course you can go other way. And this also is hatching, where you do with the side. But that's more of a different mark. So that's what I mean by hatching. So in terms of principles, there's many things you have to worry about. Let's talk about two that are really important. And number one is value shape. Number two is tone, or tone quality. So what is a value shape? And a value shape is are the shapes that are produced when you shine a light on an object. And here's an example of a plaster cast, which is great to study for both shading, for both lighting, value control. And you could see that when you shine a light, you see a clear light facing part of it, and you see some things in shadow. The most obvious shape that you see, especially when you have a strong single light source, this is called academic light, having one light source. You see clear light and shadow shape. You see the difference? That is really important to make that distinction. And you could see here, this is I did this filter quickly in Photoshop, so you can kind of see the shadow shape, and it's kind of in red right here. You see how the Photoshop separates the light and shadow shape, but you want to train your eye to do this. So this is a skill that you want to develop. And then there's areas where it's not quite as dark. You may have you're like, okay, what's going on here? Is that bounce light? Oh, there's a little bounce light in his eye. Or, oh, some of this hair, should that be shadow shape, Chris? I don't know. What about on his cheek? What do I do here? Right? This causes a lot of confusion. The short answer is it's up to you. There is no right or wrong. I call these 50-50. There's no right or wrong way for these 50-50 shapes, especially the initial shadow pass. But what that comes down to is design choice. And what that comes down to is, what do you want to communicate? Do you want to communicate form? Do you want to communicate anatomy? Do you want to communicate a detail? Or do you want it to be more flat and graphic? Maybe you don't want to communicate anything at all except the shape itself, and be more of a graphic, more of a pattern type drawing or work of art, which is totally valid too. So you have light and shadow, and then the second thing is everything in between. Everything that's not light or not shadow, we call that halftone. And that is, my friends, That is where you earn your money. Well, it's not where you earn your money, but it is a very important skill to have. And you could see here, I'm trying to outline it in blue. You see this shape that the Photoshop filter simplified for us? That is a halftone shape. You see, it's gray. It's not quite as dark as the shadow, and obviously not as light as the figure in light. So that also takes your interpretation. There's really no right or wrong way, but the important thing to note is if you want realism, the shape has to be fairly accurate. And that's important to say right here. Value shape for realism accurate shape. The better word is clear or clarity or read, or for Steve Houston fans, he calls it ring true. Those are Steve Houston students like me. Ring true, meaning that the shape has to kind of look like the thing. If you want a realistic face, the eye socket shape has to look like a realistic eye socket, like what you expect to see from an eye socket. And obviously you need, if you want likeness too for portraits, you got to get that right. Okay, so that's a little briefly on shape. There's a lot to it. Now let's talk about tone. Number 2, tone and tone quality. So remember this, the shape. Well, when you draw, you know that your main job, or when you start to shade a drawing, you know your main job is to first identify shapes, and then you have to eventually fill the shape. And that is where tone quality comes in. So when you look at a drawing that uses hatching technique, pay attention. Don't think of it as, oh, look at that beautiful hatching. What you want to see is the quality of the tone, meaning, does the value shape look fairly smooth and even? So you see these little boxes I'm making here? And I'm only using line, only using hatching. But you can see my tone is okay. It's pretty nice. It's nice and even, right? If you squint, if you zoom out, the mind will interpret it as a tone. So that's the secret, right? When you look at a drawing like this, you'll say, oh, wow, Chris Legaspi has this cool hatching technique. I want to watch his YouTube video, right? Oh, I saw this cool hatching technique by this other artist. Let me practice that. It's not so much that, oh, that's a cool technique. When I look at this, I go, how is my tone shape? You see this thing? That's one shape. And you see the tone is quite nice. It's not perfect, but it kind of changes when it needs to change. Here, it's not perfect either, but the quality, the feeling overall of this shape is quite nice. And you notice I carry it up. So here's another example. Here's a little, this is a still life of a little pig sculpture. So you see the quality of the tone. You see all that shadow shape that we just talked about, right? Light, shadow, halftone, light, shadow. Notice my shadow shape, right? At first glance, you think, wow, look at that beautiful technique. Oh, I want to draw like that. Oh, I want to draw like Chris Legaspi. don't pay attention to the technique. When you draw, pay attention to the tone. What you want is to be able to make a smooth, even, and pretty tone every time. Every time. Every time. Right? Nice and even. That is the goal, my friends. It's not the technique. Yes, when it's combined, the technique is kind of cool. It's dazzling, right? It's like, oh, it's energetic. But for me, I am 100% focused on, well, 90% focused on the quality. There's other elements too that are involved. But what I really care about is that the tone shape is correct, and that when I fill it in, it's clear. It's clear. So, obviously, you want this skill. You got to practice. You got to make these little boxes. This is something you can control, and you want to do them in whatever medium: pencil, graphite, colored pencil, charcoal, gel pen, brush pen, brush pen, marker, gel pen, ballpoint pen, colored pencil, Sharpie marker, Prisma marker, Copic marker. You see, you want to be able to consistently make really clean and sharp tone shapes. And then the last skill, so this is 2A, and 2B is gradients. So you want to be able to go from one value to another. And you want to be able to do it evenly, smoothly, with clarity, right? That's the goal. That's the goal, my friends. You want to be able to do them up and down, left and right, diagonal, in a curve. I'm not going to do a curve, but you know what I mean. You want to do that? So this is the thing that you can control. The beautiful thing about drawing fundamentals is that you have control of them. You don't need a model. You don't need a teacher. You don't need to go to college. You don't need a Gumroad tutorial. You don't need to watch endless YouTube videos. You don't need to, you don't need to subscribe to my email list or buy one of my programs. You can do this at home for free. And that's exactly what I did. When I first seriously got into realism, I sat down and did these things for hours and hours and hours. I was a madman. So what I'm saying is that this is something that's 100% in your control, and you could do this at any time. Anybody, even if you're super busy, you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of materials, you can sit down and spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes making boxes, practicing your gradients, making sure that someday, if you're new and starting out and you want to improve, someday that your tone shapes and the way you feel your tone has beautiful clarity and beautiful gradations. So that is basically it for the principles. Now let's do some demonstrations, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me pause to read some comments here. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. John Mitchell, hello from California, welcome. Corey, thank you, Corey. Corey's in New York City. Corey's staying up late for us a little bit. Thank you, Corey. Bima, Malik, Corey. Corey says, get this course. As a student, I can attest. Best drawing instruction I've had. Oh, we got to do, thank you, Corey, for that. We have to do a case study on Corey. He's grown quite a bit. He's in my coaching program. Bima from Indonesia, welcome. Jeremy from Cebu. And Animations, hello. Rob V. There's a lot of clipping in the audio. Oh, thank you, Rob, for that. Gosh, I don't know how to fix that. Damn it. And the lighting is so weird. The lighting just turned all brown. Thank you, Rob, for the feedback there. And, oh, I also want to thank this live stream. I got a question from a student named James. James says, quick question. The picture that's the main picture on the course, do you have a video on how you drew that? As I really like the style, but I just can't replicate it without seeing it first. What he's talking about a portrait hatching drawing that I did. So thank you, James, for that question. And if you want to write me a question, you can make sure to subscribe to my email list, and then I do read all of the emails. So thank you, James, for that. This is what he was talking about. He's talking about hatching drawing. All right. Hopefully the audio is not too bad. So I'm going to do a little drawing today. Here's the reference, and did I make the tone shape one? I'm not sure if I made the tone shape version. Print out. I don't think I have it. Oh, here it is. This is what we're going to draw today. And these are the value shapes. So this was made in Photoshop. So Photoshop simplified this with a filter. So it's not totally accurate, but it's pretty close. You can see we have, remember what we talked about? Light, shadow. So those are most important. And then the second is the halftone. So all of this stuff in gray, I have to worry about too. And then, there's also, more subtle value shapes I have to worry about as well. That's essentially what I see. The reason why I make this is I want to show you how to see. This is what when I look at a thing, at a person, I see this. I look at a person with nice lighting and I see, oh, how are the value shapes? How are the halftone shapes? Where's the highlight? How do I make the transition, right? Where's the edge? Where's the corner? Where's the plane? So that's the game plan. Let's see if we can execute today. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Be helpful. Okay, what are we doing here? Forgot, what am I doing? Oh, do some drawing. That's right. Do some drawing. Oops. I'm going to use graphite. Graphite for this. And if you're just starting out, I do recommend plaster cast drawing. Plaster casts are generally a bit simplified, more simple than the real thing, than drawing a human being. So it's a nice progression, a nice warm-up, if you will. And obviously, I also recommend graphite because obviously you can erase. Maybe you follow me on social media and you see my pen drawings, which are obviously a bit more advanced since you can't erase, but to copy to, or to, obviously, pen drawing's important. It's a lot of fun. So you see he has lots of little small shapes in his hair. Right now I'm trying to decide what to do with all these little small shapes, right? Should I group them with shadow? So right now I'm making decisions in the moment. And there's really no right or wrong way, especially with hair. Generally with hair you have a higher margin of error, meaning the hair doesn't have to be perfect, right? Unlike the eye has almost no margin of error. You have to get that pretty perfectly to make it read. Construction. So I got my tone shape, and remember this? Now it's time to fill the tone shape, right? So here we go. This is where, this is what separates okay. Are you ready? And you see I'm also using, I'm not using the point. You see this is the point, this is the side. I'm using somewhere in between. You see that? Point, side, somewhere in between. Because I want the tone shape to have a certain feeling, a little bit of softness. Why? Because in the shadow, I want the shadow to sit back in space. So for the shadow to sit back in space, we don't want too much attention or busyness. If I make these marks very sharp with the point of the pencil, they'll attract more attention. They'll be sharper and attract more attention, and they'll come forward. And we don't want that. What we want is it to sit back in the space. So here's an example. Here's a quick example. You see how this area is pretty dark, but it's not as dark as the shadow, right? But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to group it all together because it's not that important, you know, and I could just do it like that because, you know, all of this stuff up here is much more, I need more to be more careful, obviously. So this is just one example where I made a quick decision to say, you know what, this is a halftone shape, but I'm going to group it with value shape, the dark shadow value shape. And that's it. And let's see. So what we have is a nice. I should take a picture for the gram. Hold on. Where's my phone? I gotta take a picture for Instagram. Hold up. Okay, sorry about that. You know how we do with the gram. All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to eventually have to do some halftone, right? But the shadow is a little too dark. You see how light? It's a little too light. So I need to make it a little bit darker because what I want is I want to have room for the halftone because I can't see the halftone unless there's a difference between the value of the shadow and the value of the halftone. So basically, the shadow needs to be dark enough so you will be able to notice the halftone shape when it comes. So I'm just going to make it a little bit darker now. And because this is graphite, this is a B, 2B, it's a 2B. It's not that dark, so it'll be a little bit more difficult to, it'll take more labor for me to make it dark. So I'm definitely not going to do that on camera. All right. So this is the first step. Next, we got to do some halftone shapes. So remember this guy here. We pretty much have that. Now we're gonna kind of see the halftone shape. See what we can do there. I'm gonna put that over here in case I need. And I'm gonna make this halftone shape fairly light, so you might not be able to see it too well on camera. So and this is a nice this portrait bust here, very clear shapes. The hair has a lot of small halftone shapes, so I have to kind of be mindful of that. The neck, and then that's pretty much it. Now just fill the halftone shape, and I'm pretty much done with this initial, I guess, tonal block in. that's pretty much it. Once obviously the shadow needs some work. Oh, I don't have a darker pencil, but I did. Obviously the next thing to do, you see that tone shape is ugly. You see that? The next thing to do would be to continue to develop the values. So right now the shadows is a little too bright. It needs to be darker. So I need to get a 6B, obviously, and just make the shadow darker so that the halftones read more. And then once I have halftones, getting those to read, then I can transition into the light halftone shapes, which I'm not going to do today. But that's what's next, right? That's pretty much it. That is pretty much it, my friends. We got time for one more demonstration. Let's do one more. We take a photo for the gram, you know how we do it. Okay. Oh shit. The audio is broken. Damn, I really don't know how to fix that. Thanks for the feedback. I don't know how to fix that. Let me try something. Hello? Is the audio working? I don't know how to fix that. I'm really sorry. How's the audio now? Is it better? It's the same, worse? Damn it. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix that. I have my mic, I have a proper microphone. It's in my face. Fuck, I don't know how to fix the audio. God damn it. Sorry, I don't know what the hell is wrong with it. I really don't. I'm looking at, I'm using OBS. How is that? It could be the cable. Oh my god. Oh my god. How is that? Is that any better? Okay, thanks for all the feedback. Is that any better? Is that any better? Is that better? Testing 1, 2, 3. Man. Because it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't understand what's going on. Is it better? Is it worse? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it worse? Is it better? The same? Hello? Okay, no. How's that? Is that better? Is that better? Is that better? Is that better? Audio mixer. Is that better? Same? Worse? Is that better? Same? Worse? Uh, yeah, fuck. I don't know how to fix that. Shit. Let me try. God damn it. What's going on here? How's that? Is that better? Is that worse? Is that better? Is this better? Is it worse? I did unplug it. Is it better? Is it worse? Check the gain. Okay, thank you. I did check the gain. I had the gain switch on. Yeah, there's so many fucking, it could be the stream, it could be the, I don't think it's the mic. Oh my god. Hold on, let me try one more thing. Wish I could test this. Okay, is that any better? Is that any better? Better or worse? Hello, hello. I'm trying a new microphone now. Hello, hello. Is that better or worse? Same. Hello, hello, hello. I can't monitor the stream. Is there a way to audio monitor the streams? Ah, my God. It's better. Clarence says it's better. Anyone agree? Okay. Okay, I'm just using headphones now. Thank you, Clarence. Thank you, everyone. I guess we'll just move forward. Thank you, everyone, for the audio check. All right, let's get back to work here. Okay, I'm going to draw a little Scully now. And notice the value shapes. This one has some interesting, see, there's clearly, this part is darker than this part of the shadow, but it's both shadow. So what to do? Let's figure that out together. Let's figure that out together. And the lighting here is actually the sun. So this is a shot outdoors. It's being lit by the sun, which is really nice light. So it has that strong single light source look that we want, academic light. There's lots of interesting smaller shapes in the shadow here in the jaw. I'm gonna try to ignore them for now. Well, I'm not ignoring them, but all right, that looks pretty good. Let me take another picture for the gram here. All right, it's a good stopping point here. Thanks everyone for your patience. Got to figure this thing out soon. I have the microphone works. It's just with OBS, it's just all screwed up. Everything. Once you try to use OBS, everything just goes out the window. Maybe I should switch to another software. What do you guys think? I use a Mac. There must be software that's better than OBS. Anybody know? Comment below. I want to keep doing these video camera live streams, but man, the OBS it's very hard. It's kind of hard to use, or it's very there's so many problems that happen, you know, when you start streaming. Okay, so I got the shadow shape. Now I got to fill it. And one thing that's helpful too, here's something that's helpful that you might enjoy. So let's say you get your block in. You're like, oh, I saw Chris's video. I'm gonna draw a skull. I'm gonna draw a plaster cast. I got my shadow shape. What do I do now, Chris? Help me. Well, one thing you could do is you can do little box exercise for yourself. You can do a scales. So this is a scale. So you can say, okay, so I'm using white paper. So my highlight will be the white of the paper. How dark can I go with my shadow? Let's say you only have one pencil. Say, okay, I can go that far. So how dark can I go with my halftone? And there you go. That's pretty dark. And let's say, oh, you know what, Chris? I want to go one more value. I don't want 3 value shapes. I want 2. Can I have a lighter halftone? Yes, you can. You see? Then you can practice before you do your drawing. This is especially helpful if you're using like pen or charcoal. So this is something fun to practice. So now you go, okay, my shadow's going to be this dark. The light of the paper will be my highlight, right? There's a highlight right here. And right here is little speckles of highlights, right? So I know that. So cool. So let me start and see. Let's see where we go from here. Yeah, I really like these drawing streams. I want to do more of them. I'd like to do like more than once a week, possibly daily. That would be nice. Um, but I think if I used OBS, I would just pull my hair out for all the frustration. So maybe if I switch to another software. Next month, I'm planning to do a drawing challenge. So that will be Try to do a lot of live streams for you guys there. Okay. Jeez. 1 second, please. Okay, okay, okay. Welcome back. Sorry, I had to plug in my Mac there. Put this over here. What are we? Crap, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I forgot. Where am I at? Okay, so I got my value shape. Oops. I got my first value shape. So it's right about here. I'm going to go a little bit darker. And now we can practice gradation. So this is something too you can practice. You can practice the gradation. You guys ready? So again, this is something that you can do at home and work on yourself and improve your core drawing skill just by doing these boxes and gradations. See, so that's just a little practice. You go, okay, cool. I'm right about here. I know I can go a little bit darker. Let me try that. And notice here, right? It's darker here. So this is all shadow shape, shadow shape, shadow shape, shadow shape, shadow shape, shadow shape. But notice it's darkest here and lightest here, right? Because of all the bounce light in the skull. So I need a gradation. You see that? Darker here, lighter here. That therefore there must be a gradation in between. So that's what I'm gonna do. In this case, I'm going cross-hatching, so I'm losing some of that initial effect, but what I'm gaining in value is more valuable, I think. I do like that single direction look. I do like that look. That's why you see me do it all the time. I just think it looks cool. It's really a stylistic choice. It's not, it's, I do it because it's fun and it looks cool. There's really no other reason. But then, of course, you can add story elements to it. That's kind of fun. So a little bit of gradation there. Now I'm using a little bit of the point. And I can use the point because this is, it's a hard, bony subject matter. If I was drawing a female or a baby or something softer, I would have to use a different strategy because you don't want it to be too aggressive. And I really need a darker pencil, like a 6B. See if I can find one, actually. I know I got it. Oh, I do. There's a 6B right here. Okay, I got a 6B. Never mind. Here's a 6B. Oh, yeah, it's much easier. So this is a 6B. And now you can see it. You guys see how clear it is? Before I was only using 2B graphite. That looks much nicer, huh? Looks much more clear. It looks a bit more mysterious and lost. Oh, that's so it looks so nice with the 6B. Ooh, that looks nice. So helpful to have the 6B. 6B. Take a photo for the gram. Excuse me. You guys know how we do it on the gram. All right. So I'm ready to rock and roll now. Sharpen my pencil. Now I'm going to go these guys, these shadow shapes, the light halftone shapes. So, oh, I forgot a small shadow shape. And we have a nice separation now because we use a darker pencil. Oops, that's not right. I want to go a little bit darker. Okay, so halftone shapes. Um, where are they? Well, there's one in the skull itself. Oops, what's going on here? Ah, jeez, having lights problems here. Nice. You see right here, halftone, light halftone highlight. You see that? See the clear separation of shape? Let me see if I can get that down. That is where, remember, we talked about this guy? Remember the importance of practicing your scales? Right here. This whole shape. Comment below if you have ever messed up on a portrait at the forehead. Comment below. Who has ever made a mistake rendering the forehead on a portrait? This transition right here of value shapes, you will draw hundreds, maybe thousands of times in your lifetime. So obviously you want to practice that. And this is how you do it. So it looks smooth. The realism looks smooth, but in hatching you can create that illusion too. So watch. In fact, I'll go this way. I'll go this way just for fun. And that's it. That's it. It's that simple. You see, nice transition. Shadow, light halftone, highlight. It's not super clear, can be better, but it's a good start. And then I got to fix some values down here. And now what I'm doing is making sure all the value shapes read, because now I added halftones, and that means my shadow also has to go darker. Normally when you bring up values of one shape or one tone shape, tone thing, you have to bring up the values of everything else. So now my shadows have to be darker. Everywhere I have shadow shape, they have to be darker. Or else it won't read properly. Okay, I think it's a good stopping point here. And yeah, I think it's a good stopping point here. Take photo for the gram. All right, I think it's a good place to stop right here. Um, next next time we will do some portraits in pen. We won't do this on camera today, Um, where's my pen? We're going to use ballpoint pen in the next video. So make sure to come back for that. And we'll do a couple portraits with ballpoint pen. Obviously, what you saw is a progression. So plaster cast, I think, is a good beginner level place to start. And then maybe a skull, and graphite is a good place to start, or pencil, something you can erase. And then uh, obviously the most difficult thing is portrait. So we'll do a couple demonstrations next week. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to stop the stream today. Let me quickly take a look at your comments. I appreciate all the patience for the microphone. Um, let's see. Dutch says, welcome Dutch. I use StreamYard. Solinale, welcome. Thank you. John Q, I am bad with technology, me too. Clarence says, Lost Edges get me excited. Okay. Let's see. All right. All right, I appreciate it. Yes, the stream's over, but you can watch it on the replay. Thank you so much. Oh, John says, thank you for your book and your streaming. Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you being here. So next week, we'll do some portraits in pen, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Appreciate it.